Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, the mercy of Allah, and the blessings of Allah. Welcome back to the Words Make People podcast. Today we're going to look at a continuation of our look at the 9-point action plan as presented by Imam Muhammad throughout his many lectures and Muslim journal articles and radio broadcasts, etc., interviews, books he has written. And from that, we extracted a 9-point plan of action that Imam Muhammad had put forth. And we did a video dealing with all 9 points. In this video, and in subsequent video, we're going to focus on one of those points. And this first video, we're going to focus on the first point in that 9-point plan of action. And the first one is we're going to focus on, God willing, today. We're going to focus on the establishment of Masjid, of mosques, masjids, as a place of worship, to worship Allah in congregation. Because congregation of prayer and congregation is more beneficial, carries more weight than when a man or woman prays alone by themselves. So you get more blessings if you pray in congregation. So that's why one of the reasons that we want to establish masjids, so we will have places to go and make congregational prayer. So the Prophet encouraged us to make prayer in the mosque or the masjid as much as possible. But even doing that, we shouldn't make our houses graveyards, so we still should pray in the masjid. But we should also want to make the congregation, make the Fajr, if possible, we live close enough, make Fajr prayer at the masjid, and at least one prayer during the day at the masjid. A masjid should be open for all 5 prayers if it's a fully functional masjid. That should be the goal. The goal of any masjid should be to get to a point where it's open for all of the 5 daily prayers. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated the following on the importance of mosque or masjid. Our Prophet, he said, and I'll quote, "O ye people, praise Allah. Whoever builds a mosque for Allah, Allah the Exalted shall build a house for such a one in paradise. To Allah, the most adorned places are the mosques, and the most undesirable places are marketplaces. Mosques are the houses of Allah, and those believers who enter therein are the guests of Allah. Those who visit the mosque in darkness will convey to them the good news that Allah shall bestow upon them from Himself perfect light on the day of judgment. For him who makes his ablutions at home and then walks to one of the houses of Allah to discharge his obligations imposed on him by Allah, one single step of his towards the mosque wipes out a sin, and the next step raises his status. Whenever any one of you enters a mosque, let him pray, O Allah, open up for me the doors of thy mercy. And whenever anyone from among you leaves the mosque, let him pray, O Allah, I seek from thee thy blessings. Of all the buildings, the most beautiful and attractive in Allah's sight is a mosque." End of quote. That's a quote from our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the importance of masajid. So knowing that, we should be enthused, we should be fired up, and we should be seeking to build as many masajid around the world as we possibly can. And so we should want to have masajid, building a masajid as a priority for us as Muslims, under the leadership of Imam W, Deen Mohammed, rahimahullah. During the Great Renaissance period, lectures in chemistry, physics, botany, medicine, astronomy, philosophy, etc., all were delivered in the masjid. The masjid served the dual purpose of the place of worship and also as educational centers. Hazrat Umar, rahimahullah, radiallahu anhu, the second successor Khalifa of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, stated the following, or he accomplished the following, dealing with Mosques or Masjid. As the Islamic dominion extended progressively, Umar radiallahu anhu ordered that mosques should be built in all conquered territories. In the newly founded cities of Kufa and Basra, Jamia or community masajid were built in the center of the city, and smaller mosques or masajid were built in each tribal quarter. In the case of smaller towns in Iraq and Syria, a mosque was required to be constructed in each town. According to one account, as many as 4,000 mosques were constructed during the Khalifa of Umar. Umar had the sacred mosque at Kaaba extended, and in 739 AD, Umar purchased the surrounding houses at state expense. These were demolished, and the area under them was included in the mosque. Heretofore, there was no wall around the masjid. Umar had a wall constructed for the first time. Heretofore, before that, the mosques were not lit. Umar provided lights for the mosque for the first time. Formerly, the cover of the Kaaba was of ordinary cloth. Umar had the cover made of a superior and finer cloth manufactured in Egypt. The bounds of the Haram, the sanctuary of the Kaaba, extended to 3 miles in one direction and 7 to 9 miles in the other direction. The boundaries were not defined, and there was the risk of this area being encroached upon. Umar had the area surveyed, and the boundaries were demarcated. Stone pillars called ansar were fixed to mark the boundaries. Umar extended the Prophet's mosque at Medina as well, and in 739 AD, the same year as the Kaaba was extended, Umar purchased the houses surrounding the Masjid Nabi also. After demolishing them, the area was utilized for the extension of the mosque. Abbas, whose house also surrounded the mosque, refused to sell his house. He sued the state in the court of the Qazi Ubay bin Ka'b. The court gave its verdict against the state and held that the property could not be acquired compulsorily. Umar accepted the verdict of the court. Thereupon, Abbas voluntarily gifted his house for the extension of the mosque. Umar accepted the gift gracefully and provided alternative accommodations to Abbas. As a result, the length of the mosque rose from 100 to 140 yards, while its width rose from 60 to 80 yards. Umar was the first to provide lights for Masjid Nabi also. Umar also made arrangements for the burning of the incense in the mosque. The floor of the mosque was paved and covered with mats. So, Umar radiallahu anhu did a great, now we want to look at Imam Muhammad rahimahullah. We want to look at some directives from Imam W, Deen Mohammed on the establishment of masjids. Imam Muhammad, February 18, 1989, in Long Beach, California, stated the following, and I quote, We want mosques or masjid to get permission from the neighborhoods first and then go down to City Hall, wherever you must go, and ask permission to have the azan, the call to prayer, sounded in the immediate area. It should be heard 1, 2, or 3 blocks. Let it go over the loudspeakers, just as the church bells are allowed to ring in some Christian neighborhoods. We want to hear the azan sounding out. I'm talking about Muslims in the future of America. We want to work in all of our localities, not to build one mosque. We want to build many mosques, many masajid. You may say, oh, but we don't have but 60 people. 60 people should be working to have 60 mosques in their town. 60 masajid in their town. You get the masajid or the mosque, Allah will bless the master to have people coming to it. In the quote. Once again, that's Imam Deen Mohammed, Imam W. Deen Mohammed, on the building of Masjid, Mosque, February 18, 1989, gave this address in Long Beach, California. So the Imam Muhammad is urging us to look at the future of Al-Islam in America and not judge the future of Al-Islam in the lens of our present situation, but to look at Islam as it will expand in the future. So if we have 10 people in the masjid, we should want 10 masjid in your city. Imam said if you got 60 people, only 60 people in that masjid, you should be looking to want to build 60 mosques or 60 masajid in your city. So it should be, we have to look long range. So if we build the masjid, build the houses of Allah, Allah will fill the houses up. Alhamdulillah. So we have to look at establishing masjid as a priority. Now Imam Muhammad gives us more direction concerning masajid in a January 16, 1999 address. Imam Muhammad said this. I believe this was at a Ramadan session. I'm sure, this was a Ramadan session. This was at a Imam's retreat, January 16, 1999. I believe it was in Randolph, Virginia. In fact, I'm quite sure it was in Randolph, Virginia. And Imam Muhammad, concerning masjid, he stated, the best situation for us or the best work to accommodate our need to have decent places of worship would be to build a facility from the ground. Then you could get all the benefits of low facility cost heating, air conditioning. You buy one of these old buildings, most times you're bound a serious problem. And then some importantly, you will have a facility built to your desire. I'm saying it again. Instead of buying one of those old buildings, if you build one from the ground, Imam was saying, more importantly, you will have a facility built to your desire, and you can have it structured, situated, so that the people come in the main entrance and they are facing the Kaaba when they come in. That's a big advantage. So Imam wanted to have, ideally, to have our masjids have the entranceway as you walk into the masjid facing the Kaaba. Imam goes on to say, and I quote, and you could have it built on the style of the mosque in Africa, or in the Middle East, Malaysia, or anywhere. It's up to you. You could pick your own style. I would like us to design our own style masajid for the climatical environment we live in. So that means one on the East Coast of California, where the weather is tolerable all year round, then your design may look a little different from what we build in Chicago. But there will be some basic features that will identify all our mosques. We have people who can come up with that. We have architects that can help us come up with something. Let us have our own creation. When we go to Turkey, you see the Turkish design. Go to Morocco, you see the Moroccan design. So we don't want to copy people, so let us do the same thing they did. Let us look at our environment and say what kind of structure is best to survive and the kind in this kind of climate, and we build it. And what we do, we want to say with our design, we want it circular, to say it's universal. It's of the order of the stars, and we want a square to say it's accommodating man, heavily spiritual. Square is community of man down here on the earth. A circle is up in the heavens. Do you want to say it's a heavenly accommodation, or do you want to say it's a community accommodation? Or do we want to say it's just for the individual? Do we want a triangle structure? I know none of us are going to make a masjid for his own religion so he can come in and do his own thing in our masjid. Once again, Imam Muhammad, January 16, 1999. So Imam Muhammad is urging us to build our masjid with our own environmental conditions in mind. African or Turkish design, no, not Turkish design, African or Middle Eastern design, in a circular design, or a square design. But the most important thing is to consider building from the ground if possible. And if you can't do that, of course, you're going to have to get an older building to accommodate a storefront until you can raise money to build from the ground. Also, in our conclusion, Imam Muhammad has stated repeatedly that the mosque must be a building that can accommodate school, also can be used as a cultural center until we can get a school and a cultural center as separate buildings. But until that is feasible, the mosque has to be a multi-purpose building. So all praise be to Allah. We have to be responsible for establishing the Islamic community, to establish the Muslim community. Those of us who say we follow Imam W, Deen Mohammed, we have to be about building masjids, building structures that will last for generations, building schools, building masjids. And the number one priority is to build a mosque, build a masjid. But in building that mosque, that masjid, as I said, and Imam Muhammad stated, should be a multi-purpose building until we're able to build a separate school or build a separate culture center. So we need culture centers also. But the first one thing we want to build is a mosque. And that mosque can serve as a school to teach our children. Because that's the next priority. First priority is the mosque, and very high on that list of priorities of Imam Muhammad in that 9-point plan is to build the schools. We'll look at that later on. But right now we want to single out the first point, the establishment of masajid. So we should be looking at to build masajid in our cities. And don't look at it one little masjid we have as that being enough. We should have a central mosque, and then we should have satellite mosques. The way we had temples during the time of Muhammad, we had a main temple, then we had satellite temples. So in the big city, say for California, say Los Angeles or Atlanta, you can have a central mosque, and then you have satellite mosques. So until next time, may Allah have mercy on you. Assalamu alaikum. The peace be upon you. And we hope that you got value from the video, and we hope that you will strive hard to establish al-Islam wherever you are. And if you're students of the Imam, to establish his language, logic, and reasoning. For that is what is going to save the world. The man's body of knowledge is what is going to save the world. So we are students of the Imam. We have to take on the role as saviors. We are the world saviors if we embrace the message, embrace the call to remake the world. We are the body of Christ. We are the true inheritors of the Isa ibn Maryam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.